She was just 2 weeks away from her 16th birthday, a milestone Anago, Wisconsin teen Kayla Berg would never celebrate.
What are some of your favorite memories of Kayla?
Plenty. Just, her beautiful smiling face, the goofiness, running around, and just memories that will never be washed away.
But before there were only memories in her place, Kayla Berg was the always on-the-go kind of girl that even her mom had trouble pinning down.
Of course, she always wanted to be with her friends. Friends, 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 friends.
But there was one friend in particular Hope says she did not approve of. Kayla's 19-year-old boyfriend, Miguel Marrero. He was 4 years older than Kayla, still very much a minor.
Miguel's house, it was kind of a party spot for these kids from Anago. We're going there on a regular basis, every weekend at least, and had a lot of young girls and young people at the house.
And Hope says she didn't want her daughter to be one of them, so she took drastic action, moving Kayla about as far south from Anago, Wisconsin as they could get, to the state of Texas. Unfortunately, circumstances back home wouldn't let them go so easily.
We had ended up coming back up here. Her dad was not doing well. I felt the need that she needed to be, by her dad in case something did happen.
A decision she now says haunts her. It was August 11th. Kayla and Hope had only been back for a little over a week when Kayla told her mom she was going out.
Any red flags?
No, none whatsoever.
Then, at some point, Kayla made contact with the 24-year-old named Kevin Kilcheski.
Kevin Kilcheski was a friend of Kayla's older brother.
Would Kevin Kilcheski also hang out with Kayla?
They would all kind of hang out together.
In fact, rumor was 24-year-old Kevin hung out with a lot of teens around town.
Everything we had heard, he was kind of on a level, mentally maybe closer to these 15, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds that he was hanging around with. I think a lot of the younger kids were taking advantage of him. He could get the marijuana, and he was given the rides, and it sounded like that was happening on a regular basis.
It's what Kevin later says happened that night with Kayla. She called him for a ride, and he offered to throw in a little extra as a welcome home gift.
So Kevin picks up Kayla, they smoke some weed?
Right.
And then what happens?
She wants to go see her friend Miguel in Wausau, and Kevin said he agreed to take her to Wausau.
But first, Kayla asked to make a quick stop to see a friend at McDonald's.
They saw Kevin with Kayla at the McDonald's. He was waiting for her in the car, but they were together. And that's the last person besides Kevin that we know has seen Kayla. Kevin says he drove her over to Wausau, about 40 minutes away, and dropped her off at Miguel's house.
The next day, Kayla was gone, but it wasn't until nearly a full week later before anyone realized it.
We had a lot of different stories on when somebody did really see her last. Kayla did spend a lot of time with her friends too, and would go between houses and may not come home for a couple days. Initially we're going, oh no, she's just floating between friends.
Sadly, that would become wishful thinking. Already a week behind when Kayla is reported missing, police start retracing her last known steps, and the trail leads them to the last place she was supposed to be, with Miguel.
What do you think Miguel's motivation would be if he was involved in Kayla's disappearance?
There was a lot of rumors going around. She was pregnant. Was that an answer?
Police bring Miguel in for questioning, but he tells them he hasn't seen Kayla, that she never came over that night, and he never admits to even having had a sexual relationship with her.
Did you search Miguel's house? Did you search his car?
Had gone through the house and looked through the house many times. We had also searched his vehicle that he had and had been using, and nothing turned up on the search.
Not long after that, Miguel lawyered up, but then he wasn't the only one police wanted to talk to. If Miguel was telling the truth, that made Kevin Kilcheski the last known person to see Kayla alive. His story being that he dropped her off at Miguel's house.
And he just drove off.
And he drove off.
The problem with that story? The address he gave police wasn't even where Miguel had been staying.
When he got dropped off at the house, it was condemned. There was issues with water coming to the house, and they were told they couldn't be in the house until they had some processes fixed.
Isn't it suspicious then that Kayla would ask to be dropped off at this home that appears to be uninhabitable.
Right. Yeah, and that's very suspicious, and her friends have told us after that she was aware that he wasn't at that house.
But Kevin insists that's where he dropped her off, and there was no evidence to say otherwise. However, that didn't mean he was home free.
Kevin's eventually arrested for what?
Reckless endangerment, and that was for his activity of taking a 15-year-old girl, smoking marijuana with her, and leaving her at a house that he wasn't sure she got to.
And what happened with the case?
It was dismissed in court. They felt that there was not enough evidence. We didn't have a victim at that point because we don't have Kayla. We don't know where she's at.
A question hundreds of tips and multiple searches over several years have yet to answer.
And I just want to know what happened to her. And I want her home. It's the only thing I want. I don't want anything else.
But then, just when it seemed like attention in Kayla's case might be waning,
Hi, Walter.
coming up,
If Kevin wasn't involved, if Miguel wasn't involved,
You know, then you look at stranger of opportunity got to Kayla.
She kept on looking at me and kept on giving me that look. You know the look.
a possible new lead brings new scrutiny to the case. And you're fleeing right off the bat. What? Guilty people do that.